Hello kiddies, welcome to yet another random hotel room with your Uncle Spurt. No dodgy shenanigans, I promise. This time in lovely Berlin, where I've come to for precisely 24 hours on the very serious business of covering the massive IFA Tech Expo. So stay tuned for some top-notch reporting from the Lenovo and Motorola launch, as well as some hands-on with Samsung's stupefyingly slender new tablet. But first up, back to me in the studio / my spare bedroom for a quick squint at the upcoming smartphones launching towards the arse end of 2025. Jingle me! TechSpert Weekly! So here in Blighty, we've already had our day and a half of summer, and now we're merrily sliding balls deep into autumn. That most wonderful time of year where it usually gets wetter than a guppy's wet bits. But hey, at least we've still got a handful of fresh banging blowers to look forward to before winter happens. So the Google Pixel 10 series may have just hit stores, but one member of this flagship family is conspicuous by its absence. This massive flexible git right here. The Pixel 10 Pro Fold isn't actually hitting stores for over a month still. October the 9th is the holy date. But is this massive malleable morpho actually worth the wait? Well, the design doesn't appear to have changed much versus the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, but you do now have a fancy pants gearless hinge, as well as a more durable display and a proper bit of IP68 water and dust resistance. The battery has been upgraded for this generation, so it's even bigger and now supports a lovely bit of Qi 2 wireless charging and of course those Pixel Snap accessories, while Google has also crammed in a fresh batch of AI, so the Pixel 10 Pro Fold is smarter than a barrel full of boffins. Just don't expect a fluid gaming experience, unless by fluid you mean a juddery stream of piss water, because that Tensor G5 ain't really designed for the likes of Wuthering Waves. Now if you're after a Pixel 10 alternative, well, Oppo should be spaffing out its latest Find X9 flagships in a month or two, including a regular Find X9 as well as a proper posh Pro model, and maybe even a bit of Ultra action further down the line. Just don't expect to see that Ultra before 2026. But what you can expect is MediaTek's all-new Dimensity 9500 chipset to be in charge of the Find X9 and X9 Pro. So unlike Google's mobiles, this slot should hopefully muller games like Wuthering Waves. You can snap away with a 50meg Sony LYT-808 camera, plus ultra-wide and telephoto options, while that Pro model will likely upgrade the tech with an even larger main sensor and a dual telephoto lens arrangement, just like the Find X8 Pro. Also, like last year, you can expect an almost bezel-free LTP OLED display to be slapped on both the Find X9 and the Pro. It should be bigger on the Pro model. While all that hot internet chat reckons that Oppo has managed to stuff a 7,000 plus milliampere battery inside of both of these blowers. That's almost ready tablet capacity we're talking now, all courtesy of Silicon Carbon Tech, of course, and apparently it'll come with 80 watt wired charging support and 50 watt wireless charging support. And don't sleep on the Xiaomi 15T, which like last year's 14T should come in a couple of different flavors and offer an affordable price tag for a flagship style experience. Apparently the regular Xiaomi 15T will be powered by the Dimensity 8400, and that will be upgraded to a 9400 Plus for the Pro. Both the 15T and the 15T Pro will apparently sport a 5500 mAh capacity battery. Sounds kind of piddly after that Oppo shenanigans. But you will have a tasty bit of 90 watt wired charging support for the Pro model, reduced to a mere 67 watts for the regular one. And both Xiaomi phones should rock a triple lens camera setup, featuring a 50meg OmniVision 9100 camera, backed by a 50meg telephoto and a 13meg ultra-wide shooter. And hey, if you happen to live in America, you've possibly got a bonus blower to look forward to, the Trump Mobile T1. Yes, that's right, the carrot-coloured calamity has launched his very own smartphone, designed with American values in mind. So presumably you've got heart attack grill on speed dial and everything is spelled with far too many Z's, or Z's. Just Josh America, you know I love you. As you might expect, the T1 comes in one colour, a highly classy gold trim. And according to these press images, it also has the remarkable ability to transform into other highly popular smartphones, Sometimes it's an iPhone, sometimes it's an S25 Ultra, but always with the obligatory stars and stripes tramp stamp, of course. And even though the phone appears to not actually exist, with no evidence of release date or anything like that, you can still send Trump 100 crisp US dollars in order to secure your pre-order. Or hey, maybe just bung your money in an envelope and then stick that envelope to a passing raccoon, because you're just as likely to get a new phone out of it. Oh, and of course, if you would like to spunk even more money on a crap mobile, well, there's some more of those iPhone jobbies due out later this month. So that right there, my lovelies, is my smash and wee roundup of all of the best phones still coming in 2025 that I can think of right now. But which one really peels your spuds? Or did I even miss out the mobile that has you most tingly in the crotchal department? Well, definitely let us know down in the comments below. And now back to me in Berlin for a squint at some of the sexiest IFA shenanigans. Special IFA report, special IFA report, it's a special IFA report. So the big headline of the Lenovo and Motorola launch was a bloody big gaming handheld. I had the chance to grapple with the Lenovo Legion Go Gen 2, yet another 8.8-inch beast that gives your wrists a proper workout. That old IPS screen is out, replaced with a shiny poppy OLED panel, which again tops off at 144Hz refresh, although that resolution has been scaled back to 1920 by 1200. AMD's fresh Ryzen 2 Extreme runs this show with up to 32 gigs of RAM packed in, so it should happily run everything you chuck at it. And you've also got double the storage now, but besides that, it's a similar setup to the original, including those detachable and dramatically named True Strike controllers. Lenovo also announced the Motorola Edge 16 Neo, a durable and refreshingly compact 6.36-inch blower, packed with loads of that clever bollocks Moto AI stuff. You got a triple lens camera including a 10 megapixel telephoto lens, plus a 5000 mAh battery with 68 watt charging, and of course the usual eye-gouging Pantone colours. And if you happen to have spunked all your money on booze to make it through yet another squelchy turd of a year, well, Lenovo also has you covered with the affordable Moto G6 and G6 Power. That power model packs in a whopping great 7000 mAh battery, although you do have meager 18 watt charging, so you're going to need to plug this git in for a while to fill it up. And both models also serve up a near 6.9-inch HD Plus screen, which is apparently responsive when moist. Fna. And this year's obligatory batshit mental offering was the ThinkBook VertiFlex Concept, a lightweight 1.4 kilo laptop with a screen that can be rotated 90 degrees from landscape mode to portrait. Ideal for programming shenanigans if you're one of them smart-ass dev types, or just watching TikToks if you're like the rest of us brain-dead mongrels. Crikey, wasn't that marvellous? Thanks me for that insightful tech reporting type situation. Uncle Spurt, we won. It's a short review, not his penis. So Samsung's quest to make everything stupidly slender continues with the Galaxy Tab S11 Ultra, a 15-inch tablet that is almost paper thin. Although it is still a proper heavy twat, so if you actually drop this thing on your foot, you'll probably take a couple of toes off. This slender git comes with Android 16 and Samsung's One UI 8 out of the box, complete with Sammy's usual pledge of 7 years of OS updates and security patching. As with the previous generation, you've got an in-display optical fingerprint sensor as well as face unlock. And of course that 14.6-inch AMOLED display is a serious highlight, now even brighter and still anti-reflective, so ideal for outdoors use, while the stretched aspect ratio works really well for movies. And those bezels surrounding the display are almost as skinny as the tablet itself, although you do have a dinky wee nipple notch up top where that selfie cam is hiding. You've once again got full stylus support, but this no longer resides in an arse crack around the back of the tablet. It actually sits on top, courtesy of some built-in magnets. Quite a strong attraction. Takes some serious flicking to get that bugger off. And you can also bag yourself an official Samsung keyboard cover, which is just as stupefyingly slim, although it's quite a firm type in action, not much key travel, so not as comfortable as I would have hoped. but subtle complaints with the performance, whether you're running several apps on screen at once or gaming on the likes of Wuthering Waves, which plays beautifully even after you've jacked those graphics settings right up. And that's all thanks to MediaTek's meaty Dimensity 9400 Plus chipset. And battery life seems to be pretty solid so far too, even though the battery itself has only increased ever so slightly in capacity over the previous generation to 11,600 mAh. Should still last you all day, no worries, unless of course you're gaming non-stop. So not really much of an upgrade over the previous Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra, but this year's Ultra certainly seems like an absolute beast as always. And I'll be testing it out for my full review on the TechSpert YouTube channel. Uncle Spurt, we won. It's a short review, not his penis. And now it's time for a bit of viewer comments. Viewer comments.
I'm gonna come.
Let's start this week with Matthew Bush, Matthew, who says, "Happy early Labor Day, Uncle Spurt." I'm going to have to absolutely show my ignorance of American holidays and culture in general here, because I don't know any of the American holidays besides the ones which obviously they've done movies on. Bit of Independence Day, of course, Thanksgiving, that was a cracker. I was almost going to say National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, but we've got the whole Christmas thing here too. But yes, have a smashing Labor Day, you lovely lot over the other side of the Atlantic. And remember, if you're going to do the whole running around shooting your guns in the air in celebration, maybe some kind of ear protection would be well advised. Totally J Official says, "Where's Wuthering Waves?" Absolutely love this dude. He's completely obsessed with Wuthering Waves. Always in the comments leaves a timestamp to any Wuthering Waves material that appears in the video. I think I already managed to squeeze some Wuthering Waves into the best upcoming phones bit, but just in case, here's a wee bit more somewhere on the screen just for you. Do not want to disappoint. And next up, Noisy Boys says, "Science exams didn't go too well, so should I blame it on the exam being scheduled for a Tuesday, so I had no new TechSpert Weekly to watch before going in?" I mean, seems like the obvious cause, right? Got to get those teachers to sort it right out. Maybe get them to project some old classic episodes of TechSpert Weekly in front of the whole class before the exam begins or something. Neely says, "I played Turd Bingo with this episode of TechSpert Weekly, and I'm pleased to say I enjoyed 3 whole glasses of whiskey. Thank you, Uncle Spurt." What is Turd Bingo, dare I ask? Is it take a drink every time I say the word turd? Or is it take a drink every time one of my jokes lands like a wet turd? Either way, absolutely guaranteed to be f***faced after about 5 minutes. Oh god, this username is going to be a bit of a test. Cho Kwan Shen Nam Chum says, "TechSpert Weekly is incomplete without the wallpaper jingle." Well, thankfully that's an easy remedy. Wall.alphacoders.com, wall.alphacoders.com, that's where my wallpapers come from, wall.alphacoders.com. And next up, Slonierpleur, sorry, bloody hell, I'm absolutely mauling these usernames today, says, "Would you recommend some good German beer?" I mean, frankly, you'll have to try really bloody hard to find a German beer that isn't highly quaffable. You know, the Weiss beers, love me a Weiss beer, but also a massive fan of the Dunkel beers and the Helles. If it comes in a massive bloody stein, then sorted really. I mean, frankly, I would piss off to Germany to live in a heartbeat just based on the beer alone, although the cuisine being endless spuds and sausage is slightly off-putting. Don't get me wrong, love a sausage as much as the next chap, but, you know, spending a week in Germany certainly taught me that sausage overload is a thing. After having currywurst for breakfast 4 days in a row, I basically turned into a human fountain. So in last week's episode, I of course struggled to contain my excitement on the upcoming iPhone 17 Air, which means we've had a fair bit of correspondence on this slightly squashed slab of wank butter. Excalibur 2596 says, "Making slim phones is completely pointless if you have to compromise on the raw battery capacity. Absolutely do not want that. Chinese brands understand this assignment because they have 5000 mAh plus batteries on their slimmest of phones." Exactly, it's no good having a supremely slender smartphone if it's going to be dead by dinner time. It would be like owning the world's most beautiful toilet, except it doesn't actually flush. So what's the bloody point? Likewise, the Island Stacker says, "I really don't see the point of these ultra-thin phones as there are just too many cuts to make them thin. Be far better to make a phone a few millimeters thicker and get a bigger battery." Yeah, absolutely. Just a bit of girth and staying power. That's surely what we all really want. iRyanIGI says, when people ask for smaller phones, they mean the screen sizes, so they can actually reach the top of their phones with their thumbs. Not making them thinner, it's the worst of both worlds. Yeah, for me with the S25 Edge, it wasn't how thin it was that it was pleasingly light, so really comfortable to wield, but even so I was absolutely terrified every time I had it in my pocket and I went to sit down. Paddy WV says they're a bit like BMW these days, overrated and out of ideas. And Garen83 says Jerry Rig is rubbing his hands while waiting for that air. Yeah, that's going to be a proper short video, I bet. Snap. Bollocks. And lots of chat about that suspiciously familiar new camera bar that stretches right across the iPhone 17 Air's arse end. The Sultana brand says now we're seeing Apple copy Google, and Nothing 007 says Dynamic Island for the back end. Yeah, it is an interesting choice from Apple, certainly given there's going to be obvious comparisons with the Google Pixel smartphones. I mean, personally, I quite like the whole edge-to-edge camera bump because I do like a bit of finger shelf action. Just seems a bit bloody overkill when there's only one sodden camera lens. Joker10 says, is it as pointless as the 16E? That is a very good point, that. Which to choose if somebody threatened to murder your entire family unless you picked the iPhone 16e or the 17 Air? It's actually a tough one, that, but it does actually sound like a video in the making right there, except possibly without the whole family murdering bit. I already anger YouTube enough as it is. Oncoming Drizzle says, am I the only person who really likes the camera button on the iPhone 16 phones? Yes you are. Onslaught74 says, I was an unapologetic iPhone wanker from the 5S, made the phone to the OnePlus 13 at the start of the year, good choice sir, and I'll never move back. It's easier to quit crystal meth than escape the Apple ecosystem, but when you do, it's all gravy. I do love a story with a happy ending, almost as much as I love a massage with a happy ending. Massively out of time, so better make this the last one for the week. Sovereign Saint says, is that a scar on the top of your bonds? And if so, is there an interesting story behind it? You're gonna have to narrow it down, I'm afraid, mate. My head over the years has suffered as much blunt force trauma as bloody Homer Simpson's, mostly because I'm a massive frickin' klutz, mixed in with a wee dash of alcoholism. The worst scar I have is actually this permanent jagged lump here near the back where, believe it or not, a 3D printed Realme cat fell on my bonds from about 4 foot. Proper heavy git it was as well. Absolutely wrecked, I swear to God, my eyes were streaming, and then I was so angry that I went and punched said cat and managed to rip my knuckles to bits. See, not my finest hour at all. Anyway, a massive thank you to everyone who commented on the previous episode. Please do tap your comments down below in the wee comments box bit, and we'll try and merrily stroll away through as many of those possible next week. And speaking of next week, what the f is next week? Well, zippity-doo-dah. Next week, Apple is launching some absolute shit, of course, hooray. You'll be shocked to hear I'm not flying out to Cupertino to get hands-on with all of that hot mess, but I'm sure I'll be bringing you some reviews at some point later this month. What I am hoping to bring you next week is a tasty bit of Samsung Galaxy S25 FE action. Is it possibly the most pointless addition to the S25 lineup this year besides the S25 Edge? Let us know what you reckon down in the comments below. And hopefully some more Pixel 10 shaped shenanigans as well. And of course, please do join me same time, same place next week for another lovely splash of Techspert Weekly. In the meantime, please do subscribe, ding that notifications bell if you haven't done so already, and have yourselves an absolutely ruddy smashing weekend. Cheers everybody, love you!